By the end of this video, I'm going to help you shift from a victim mindset to having control over your life, right? Just with one simple technique that I use, right? It's something I still use to this day, and it's helped me tremendously on my self-improvement journey. So I know it will definitely, give you a lot of value, right? So stay tuned till the end. Now, just a little story here. I am someone, for those that don't know, that went through about 8 years of addictions, with drugs, instant gratification, all that, right? And my mental health was very, very low. And I was someone that suffered from anxiety, depression, stress, overthinking, and just not really having any control over my life, right? So everything that came into my life that was negative, I would shift the blame onto others, right? So I'll give you an example. When a girl would break up with me, right, I would blame her. I would blame her for leaving me. I would blame her for abandoning me. I would blame her pretty much for everything, for the relationship going south. When we got into an argument, right, I would say that's your fault. And I had these like negative traits about me for pretty much all my relationships, right? So, I'm someone that comes from about, I've got 15 years worth of dating, right? Or relationships, I should say, sorry. But every relationship that never worked out, I would always shift the blame on the other person, right? And as a result, I would get the same outcomes, right? So the moment I completely changed my life around and reconstructed myself into a brand new person is when I started to regain control over my life, right? And I knew there had to be a better way. I couldn't live with myself just consistently blaming others, blaming God. When something would break, let's say the car breaks down, you blame the car. When something negative happens in your life, right, with a certain person, you blame the person, right? When things don't go your way, you pretty much blame others. You blame the circumstance. You don't take any accountability, right? And man, I was living like that for so long. It was literally taking a toll on my mental health. And I just, the moment I completely surrendered my old self, right, and reconstructed myself into a new person is when good things started happening in my life, right? I started to have better relationships with certain family members in my house. I'm in the best relationship that I've ever had right now in my life, right? I've got really close relationships with, my close friends. And I'm just living life with better mental health, right? And I've got more control over my life and certain outcomes in my life, right? So I no longer play that, feel sorry for yourself card. I wish I was born in another family, why me? Whatever it might be, right? All these negative, blaming tactics will never get you anywhere, right? It will never get you anywhere. It will just keep you so restricted. You're just going to have anger, resentment, jealousy. Your stress is going to be quite high because you don't know how to deal with situations. So the easy thing to do is, yep, it's your fault. Or, yep, it's your fault. Or, this is the reason why I'm like this. It's my mum's fault. Or, it's my father's fault, right? That's why I'm like this. Or whatever it might be. You get the point, right? You're shifting the blame on someone else. And unfortunately, a lot of people with poor mental health, right? And I myself was one of these people, so I can talk about this. They walk through life with a victim mindset pretty much forever, right? And I don't want this to happen to you, right? Because you're going to be losing the game of life if you continue to, live life with this victim mindset, right? It's never, ever going to serve you. If anything, it's going to bring you, more pain into your life, right? And in this modern day society, as a young man, right, I want to help you on your self-improvement journey, right? And I want you to live life with the best mental health that you possibly can have, right? Because at the end of the day, I'm a huge mental health advocate. Once you've been through proper, you know, trauma, like negative experiences, addictions, all these things, when you've been through the ringer in life, right? And you've been through real life problems, you understand what poor mental health feels like, right? And you don't wish that upon anyone. I don't wish that upon my worst enemy, right? Because when you have poor mental health, it just means you don't have control over your life, right? In other words, plain and simple, you don't have control over your life, and you're living life in the most negative way possible, right? So you don't want to be living like this. So this is something that you must immediately look at, fixing, right? And this is something that can definitely be fixed, right? So you can definitely go from someone that has a victim mindset to someone that has a, like a growth mindset, an abundance mindset, someone that's more optimistic, right? But in order to, take control over your life, the single method that I personally use, right, that helped me and where my life started to dramatically, get better was when I said, I'm responsible, right? So these 3 words, I am responsible, is something that does a lot more than you think, right? So let's say I'm going to go back to my old self and I'm going to use the I'm responsible method, right? So let's say the girl broke up with me. And, back then in my relationships, I wasn't someone that was on self-improvement. I had a lot of insecurities. I had no self-love. I didn't have a physique. I was very skinny, right? And everything at that point in my life, right? Let's say when I broke up, when that girl broke up with me, let's say hypothetically, if I said I'm responsible for this outcome after she broke up with me, I would have had a better, successful relationship when it came to the next girl, right? But because I didn't do that, I didn't use the I'm responsible method, I didn't take any personal accountability, right, for my life and the actions I made, right? It then gave me the same results. It gave me the same results in the next relationship, right? It wasn't the girl's fault. It was my fault. I was responsible, right? So whatever the circumstance was, even though it hurt so much at the time when she broke up with me, if I use that analogy of I'm responsible, then I would have done the necessary groundwork, to better myself and heal from that relationship, and then give the best possible version of myself to the next girl, right? But because I never fixed myself, and a lot of people go through this even in relationships, they tend to blame the other person, say, fuck it, it's their fault, right? I'm gonna find someone else, go with a new partner, only to find the same outcome happening in their next relationship, right? So this is something that will never, your life will never progress in relationships, right? If you consistently, blame others and you never take responsibility. So let's say she broke up with me in that example. I'm responsible, right? Regardless, even if she cheats on you and she breaks up with you and it hurts your heart and whatever it might be, you just say, I'm responsible. I'm responsible for this outcome, right? You can choose to try and win her back after she cheated on you, or you can be responsible and move on and better yourself and then find someone you are more likely gonna be compatible with, right? But when I started to take, responsibility and I said, I'm responsible for where I'm at in my life right now, right? Even when I was suffering during that 8 years, I sacrificed a lot of changes to happen in my life, right? To become a brand new person and reconstruct my character into a new person. I took responsibility, right? I took responsibility for everything, like all the things like, even growing up with, family trauma and stuff like that, I took responsibility for everything. I said, you know what? These are the cards that I've been dealt with. I'm responsible. And it allowed me to, get more emotional intelligence as well. I got to understand, why certain people, acted that way when I was growing up with my childhood trauma, stuff like that, right? But I would have more fulfillment, more joy when I stopped living that, victim card. And after taking control, you know, of my life, right, and being responsible and doing the necessary work, right, and using those three words, I'm responsible, right, for whatever outcome. When the car broke down, I was responsible. When it rained outside and I didn't feel like going to the gym, I'm responsible. When you get a fine in the mail and it sucks because you were going 10 kilometers over the speed limit, God didn't just magically give you a fine, right? Instead of cursing at the fine and ripping the paper up and, getting angry and all sorts of mess, you say, I'm responsible, right? Let's say you had a very poor upbringing and you didn't have much money, right? You say, I'm responsible, right? Regardless of the outcome. Let's say you're in a car accident, someone hits you from the back. Instead of you going, why the fuck did you hit my car? You say, I'm responsible. There's always a lesson to be learned, right? Even if you're not the person in the wrong, it doesn't matter. You become the better person by saying, I'm responsible. It gives you more control. It allows you to have more emotional resilience, right, to situations. You can handle situations better. They're not so stressful. And you just get to enjoy life a lot more better, right? Because you're not shifting your negative energy onto, blaming other people. You're more or less trying to just be like, I'm responsible. What can we do now to fix this? And let's go this direction, right? You become more of a problem solver than someone that just creates problems, right? And that engages in like negativity and, poor behavior and stuff like that. So it might sound or it might feel weird. Like, let's say a girl cheated on you and she broke up with you and she left you, she dumped you and you felt like shit and you were heartbroken, you say, I'm responsible, right? Because if you say, why me? You say it's her fault. All girls are like this, right? You're going from that victim mindset, right? You're going from that victim mindset, and what's going to happen is you're never able to have a loving, successful relationship that you deserve because you're consistently, stuck in a victim mindset. You're not willing to change your ways, right? And you're always going to get the same outcome, right? So, and I had this for 8 years, man. I'm telling you now, it was absolutely hell going through, having a victim mindset for 8 years, like absolutely hating life, negative, and something had to change, right? So you don't have to live this way. I don't want you to go through, what I went through myself, right? Just realize that if you're, someone that, and look, I was this person too, so it's okay to admit these things. If you're someone that is, playing that victim card, feeling sorry for yourself and the cards you've been dealt with in life and all this shit, right? I understand, but obviously you're watching this video because you're into self-improvement. So there's definitely a way where you can improve oneself, right? Start to use the I'm responsible method, right? It definitely helps. When you use the I'm responsible method, it basically, it lets you live life more freely, right? It allows you to, be more loving, right? It allows you to trust more people. It allows you to live life with more control, right? Because if we don't have control over our life, what control are we going to have in this existence, right? Like literally, what control are we going to have? So things that you can do, right, to implement the I'm responsible technique, for it to work effectively, right? I'm going to give you the most practical techniques, right? So for me, this changed during my morning process, right? And the techniques that really helped was gratitude journaling, right? So being grateful for things I have in my life, right? Things that are within my vicinity right now today as we speak. So I'm grateful I get to eat today. I've got food in the fridge, right? I get to sleep today in a place that's got shelter, right? I get to go to the gym today and work on my physique, right? I get to, you know, embrace the relationships that I have in my life with my family members, with my girlfriend, right? You know, all these things, all these simple things that you are grateful for. You know, I get to go to work because you've got a job, right? A lot of people don't even have a job. You know, whatever it might be, right? If you're grateful for every single thing that you've got in your life today, it doesn't matter if you don't have much, right? If you've got the basic things in your life that you're grateful for, even if you've got an old car, at least you can still get from A to B, right? If you're grateful for all these things in your life that you've got, you start to feel a lot more better, right? And if you couple that with meditation, right? And why I say meditation is because it keeps you present in the moment. It stops your mind wandering from the past. It stops your mind wandering into the future, right? Things that we can't control. We can only control our current state, right? The present. You'll also reduce unwanted thoughts as well. So gratitude journaling with meditation, along with your morning process, right, is absolutely crucial to becoming a better version of yourself, right? To living life with a better mindset, more control over your life, and, you know, having more emotional resilience, right? Reduce stress, anxiety, depression, all those things. It's absolutely huge. The benefits for, you know, this particular technique is definitely, it does wonders, man. I'm telling you, it's something that is completely worth investing in, right? And if you're asking, you know, when should I do this? You know, how do I go about doing the gratitude journaling or the meditation? This is what I say to you. Create a morning process, right? You are responsible for setting up this morning process. You are responsible for going to sleep earlier the night before. You are responsible for waking up earlier and creating a morning process to self-improve. This morning process will be your self-improvement space or time where you get to allocate, where it's purely just you, right? And you get to work on yourself during these hours. Once you start your day like this, you know, good gratitude, meditation, you know, journaling, all these things, exercise. And whenever some negative circumstance comes into your life, right, or any circumstance for that matter, you say, I am responsible, right? I am responsible. That's all it is, right? If you just use that theory, you'll have a lot more control over your life, right? And you're just going to overall have better mental health, right? You're just going to have a better mental health. You're just going to be able to live life more present. You're going to enjoy relationships, right? People are going to want to be around you because you're someone that's got that like attitude to life that's very, how do I say? It's very attractive, right? Like a lot of people like that. No one wants to be around someone that's a Debbie Downer, blaming others, you know, talking shit about other people. No one wants to be around these people. People want to be with people that let go and move on, right? That's what people want. People want to be associated with these sort of people. So you've got it in you to change, right? Because I was someone like this for 8 years of my life through my midst of addictions, right? You can definitely change this side to you as well and start to regain control. And let me tell you one thing, man. Ever since I used that model, I'm responsible. I'm responsible for all the trauma I went through. I'm responsible for where I'm at in life. I'm responsible for being addicted to drugs. I'm responsible for having failed relationships. I'm responsible for, you know, the people that are in my life, right? If you're responsible for everything, like even when you have bad friends, you are responsible. You're the one choosing. You have a decision. No one's putting a gun to your head and saying, you have to hang around these people. You are responsible for making your own decision. And when you start to take personal accountability of your life, now the shift happens. This is when you start to go from no control to in control, because you're calling the shots, and every single outcome that happens in your life, you're responsible. You take accountability. Even if you've done something wrong, I'm responsible. I'm accountable for my actions, right? And you just have more control. That's all I've got to say, right? So just use this method. I'm responsible for whatever the circumstance might be, right? And along with that technique, do your gratitude journaling, do your meditation, have a morning routine, be responsible for waking up early, right? When everyone else is sleeping in, you be responsible. This is the only way my life changed. It was when I did this consistently for 12 months. I put myself in a mindset where I was like, I am going to do whatever it takes to be the best version of myself. And this is something that I came across, right? And this is something that I use to this day. And it always helps me in life. It would definitely help you too, right? So at the end of the day, in this day and age, right? If we don't have control over life, if we've got poor mental health as a man, life just sucks. Life just is 10 times harder. You end up just being alone. No one wants to hang around you, right? And you're just like that negative energy that no one wants to be around. And you don't want to live like this, because if you live like this, you're just going to be by yourself and you're going to have such a miserable existence. And I don't wish that upon anyone, right? So this is something you must change today, right? You must get into this and start implementing what I told you, right? But look, I'm going to end the video here. If you're new to my channel, you resonate with my content and the message I've got to say within the self-improvement space, subscribe to my channel. Really helps boost my channel. But other than that, look, I'll keep making content like this. Hope you enjoyed this one, and I'll see you in the next video. Peace.